For decades, Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman stood among Hollywood's most respected legends. When Hackman passed away at 95, fans around the world waited for Eastwood's response. His heartfelt tribute revealed more than admiration. It reflected a lifelong friendship. But what made those few words so powerful? Let's look back at the bond they shared. In 1992, Clint Eastwood was preparing what many believed would become the final great American Western, Unforgiven. The film challenged the myths of the Old West, replacing heroic gunfighters with deeply flawed human beings. There was only one problem. Eastwood needed someone extraordinary to play the ruthless sheriff Little Bill Daggett. His first choice was Gene Hackman. Surprisingly, Hackman initially turned the role down. He had grown uncomfortable with violent films and wasn't convinced this was the right project. But Eastwood believed Unforgiven wasn't celebrating violence. It was exposing its consequences. After several conversations, Hackman reconsidered. Years later, he admitted, "To his credit and my joy, he talked me into it." The decision changed film history. Hackman's unforgettable performance earned him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, while Unforgiven won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director for Eastwood. It remains one of the most celebrated westerns ever made. Although they shared only one major film together, the mutual admiration between the two actors never faded. Both men built careers by choosing substance over celebrity. Neither relied on tabloid headlines or constant publicity. Instead, they let their work speak for itself. Hackman became known for disappearing completely into every character he played, from Detective Jimmy "Popeye" Doyle in The French Connection to the brilliant surveillance expert in The Conversation, the unforgettable Lex Luthor in Superman, and, of course, Sheriff Little Bill in Unforgiven. His versatility made him one of the most respected actors of his generation. Then, in 2004, while still admired across Hollywood, Gene Hackman quietly retired from acting. Unlike many stars who announce farewell tours or final performances, Hackman simply stepped away. He settled into a quieter life in Santa Fe, New Mexico, spending his time writing novels with co-authors, painting, and enjoying life with his wife, Betsy Arakawa. For more than 2 decades, he rarely appeared in public. The mystery surrounding his retirement only added to the respect many fans felt for him. Then came the heartbreaking news. In February 2025, Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found dead at their Santa Fe home, shocking Hollywood, and prompting an outpouring of tributes from across the entertainment industry. Among all those tributes, Clint Eastwood's simple farewell stood out. Not because it was lengthy, but because it came from someone who truly understood what Gene Hackman meant to cinema. But as investigators worked to uncover what had happened inside the couple's home, another story began to emerge. One that would make Eastwood's emotional tribute feel even more poignant. As the investigation continued, the heartbreaking truth slowly came into focus. Authorities eventually determined that Gene Hackman died of natural causes. Medical officials concluded that the Oscar-winning actor died from heart disease, with advanced Alzheimer's disease listed as a significant contributing factor. Investigators also determined that his wife, Betsy Arakawa, had died about a week earlier from hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare but often fatal illness spread through exposure to infected rodent droppings. No foul play was found, and carbon monoxide poisoning was ruled out. Perhaps the most heartbreaking detail was that Hackman's advanced Alzheimer's disease may have left him unaware that his wife had already passed away. Officials said it was possible he lived alone inside the home for several days before his own death. For fans around the world, the news transformed a shocking headline into an incredibly human tragedy. It also gave new meaning to Clint Eastwood's quiet farewell. Rather than delivering a long public statement, Eastwood chose just a few carefully measured words. There was no finer actor than Gene. Intense and instinctive. Never a false note. He was also a dear friend, whom I will miss very much. Coming from Clint Eastwood, a man famous for speaking sparingly, those words carried extraordinary weight. They weren't simply praising an award-winning actor. They were honoring a trusted colleague whose talent had earned the respect of an entire generation of filmmakers. Although Unforgiven remains the film most people associate with both men, their connection went far beyond a single movie. They represented an era when performances mattered more than publicity, when actors allowed their work, not constant media attention, to define their careers. Both earned Academy Awards, both became symbols of American cinema, and both proved that authenticity never goes out of style. After retiring in 2004, Hackman quietly disappeared from Hollywood. He devoted his time to writing novels, painting, and enjoying life in Santa Fe with Betsy Arakawa. He never chased another comeback, choosing peace over the spotlight that had followed him for more than 4 decades. Looking back today, that decision seems to reflect the man Gene Hackman always was. He never needed constant attention to validate one of the greatest careers in film history. From The French Connection and The Conversation to Hoosiers, Mississippi Burning, and Unforgiven, he created characters that continue to inspire actors around the world. His performances were never flashy for the sake of attention. They felt real, honest, and unforgettable. Perhaps that's why Clint Eastwood's tribute resonated with so many people. It reminded us that Hollywood isn't only built on famous faces or box office success. At its best, it's built on mutual respect between artists who dedicate their lives to telling meaningful stories. Gene Hackman may be gone, but the legacy he leaves behind will continue to live through every unforgettable performance he gave. And through the admiration of friends like Clint Eastwood, whose simple words became one of the most moving tributes of all. What is your favorite Gene Hackman performance? Was it The French Connection, Unforgiven, Hoosiers, or another unforgettable role? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legend Discovery for more inspiring stories about Hollywood's greatest legends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.